It was raining when he found the old pocket watch. The ticking sounded strange, almost alive, echoing faster and faster until a blinding flash swallowed him whole. When he opened his eyes, the world had changed. No cars, no buildings, only a forest covered in blue mist and the ruins of something ancient. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and an ozone-like energy that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. Giant, moss-covered stones, remnants of a forgotten civilization, jutted from the ground like skeletal fingers pointing at a bruised, violet sky. Confused, his voice barely a tremor in the profound silence, he whispered, "Where am I?" The question was swallowed by the mist, leaving no echo, as if the world itself was holding its breath. He clutched the cool metal of the watch, its surface now smooth and unmarked, the intricate gears and hands having vanished completely from the shadows that clung to the base of the largest ruin. A woman in a black cloak appeared. She moved with an ethereal grace, her feet making no sound on the damp leaves. Her face was obscured by the deep cowl of her cloak, but as she drew nearer, he saw a pair of golden eyes that seemed to shimmer with an internal light, like captured starlight. She spoke, her voice a melodic cascade of syllables, in a language he couldn't understand. Yet it felt strangely familiar, a forgotten song from a dream. The pocket watch in his hand pulsed with a warm, gentle light in answer, a soft, golden glow that seemed to recognize her presence, her very essence. A faint, knowing smile touched her lips as she looked from the glowing watch to his bewildered face, in perfect, unaccented English that was somehow more startling than her foreign tongue. She said softly, "So, the traveler has finally returned." He frowned, his confusion deepening into a wary suspicion. "Return? I've never been here before." He took a half step back, his grip tightening on the smooth, warm surface of the watch. He tried to remember how he got here, recalling the rain-slicked pavement of his own city, the glint of brass in a puddle, the impulsive decision to pick it up. Nothing about that mundane moment suggested a gateway to a place like this. His entire life, his memories, his identity, they were all rooted in a world of concrete and steel, a world utterly devoid of blue mist and ancient, humming ruins. This place was a fantasy, a hallucination, and this woman spoke of his return as if it were an expected, long-awaited event. The certainty in her golden eyes was unsettling, as if she knew his history better than he did himself. The woman's voice was calm, almost sad, imbued with a weariness that seemed to span millennia. "Not in this life." The simple statement hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning. It was not an argument or a correction, but a statement of fact, delivered with the gentle finality of a eulogy. She tilted her head, her golden eyes seeming to peer not just at him, but through him, into the very fabric of his soul. "Memory is a fragile thing. Traveler," she continued, her voice a low murmur, "it fractures and reforms with every cycle. You remember one life, one thread in an infinite tapestry, but the loom remembers them all." Her words made no logical sense, yet a strange, disquieting feeling resonated within him, a flicker of something ancient and vast stirring in the depths of his consciousness, like a slumbering beast disturbed in its lair. Suddenly the ground trembled, a low, resonant vibration that coursed up through the soles of his shoes and rattled his bones. It was not the violent shaking of an earthquake, but a deep, rhythmic pulse, as if the heart of this world had just begun to beat. Luminous symbols of light, intricate glyphs, and glowing geometric patterns materialized in the air around them, floating and rotating slowly like a celestial mobile. The massive Moscovite stones lifted from the earth, defying gravity with a silent, majestic power, arranging themselves into new, impossible configurations. The forest itself seemed to ripple and shift, the blue mist swirling into vortexes that revealed glimpses of other worlds, a desert of crimson sand under a binary sun, a city of crystalline spires that pierced a nebula-filled sky, a churning ocean of liquid silver. He could hear the hum of magic all around him, a tangible, overwhelming energy that resonated in his chest and made his teeth ache. Terrified, he stumbled backward, his voice cracking as he shouted, "What is this place?" The woman raised her hand, palm outward, and the chaotic shimmer of the air stilled, the floating symbols freezing in their dance. The raw power emanating from her was palpable, a quiet storm held in perfect check. "This is the bridge between time and destiny," she said, her voice cutting through the magical hum with absolute authority. "The nexus, where all possibilities converge, and where all paths are forged. It is not a place on any map, but the axis upon which all maps turn." She lowered her hand and took a step toward him, her golden eyes locking onto his with an intensity that stripped away his fear, leaving only a profound, soul-shaking awe. "And you," she said, her voice dropping to a whisper that was louder than the world's heartbeat, "have already changed both." The pocket watch in his hand shattered into a cascade of pure, white light. It didn't explode with a sound, but simply dissolved, the energy it contained released in a silent, blinding nova. In that single timeless instant, his mind was flooded with visions, not his own, yet intimately familiar. He saw flashes of other times, other lives. He was a knight in tarnished armor, standing on the battlements of a besieged castle as a kingdom of fire and shadow fell around him, his hands gripping the hilt of a broken sword. He was a navigator aboard a star-faring vessel, charting a course through endless, swirling nebulae and past dying stars, the constellations utterly alien. He witnessed the rise of burning kingdoms built on ambition and their inevitable fall into ash and ruin. He felt the joy of 1,000 loves and the sting of 1,000 betrayals. And as his own physical body began to dissolve, breaking apart into motes of the same brilliant light as the watch, he heard her voice one last time, echoing not in the air but in the very core of his dissolving consciousness, a final, eternal truth. Time is not a line, it's a loop.